Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, ladies. Welcome to another vintage audio chat live stream. Before we get underway, I would like to first of all thank the lovely Julie for the coffees. Thank you very much, honey. Very much appreciated. I'll thank you again when you pop on. Hope you're okay. I hope everybody else is okay. How many have we got in so far? Yeah, that Garrard video, that Garrard live stream did very well yesterday. Hello, Richard. I'm good, mate. Thanks for the coffee you bought me the other week, my friend. Thank you very much, sir. I wasn't sure if I'd thanked you. I think I did. But I don't think I've seen you on to thank you in person. But yeah, we had the Garrard Zero video the other day, and that went down well. It got over 130 views. It was about 132 views or something like that, and 14 likes. So it's probably gone up a bit since then. But that's not done bad. I mean, yeah. Anyway, what we've got for you tonight, guys, we've got some literature tonight, as the title suggests. We've got some literature from Garrard, and this makes quite interesting reading. I will read some of it, not all of it, but we will read some of it. So without further ado, let's get to it. My neighbour's a bit active. He'll be in bed in an hour. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm not bothered about the address being shown on this envelope because it's not my address, and the person that lived there when this envelope went through his letterbox probably doesn't live there now, so we're not concerned about that. It's got a bit of a doodle on the back there where somebody, this is not one of my doodles, this is what somebody's wrote on here. Probably the guy who had the envelope, probably the guy that this was sent to. Now I got this. Now, I got this, guys. Believe it or not, that envelope's a really good quality envelope. Don't even make envelopes like they used to. Now, I got this with... I got all this stuff with a Garrard AP76 that I bought from a guy on eBay years ago, and all this came with it. So whether the guy bought the stuff himself, whether he bought it new, I don't know. But there's a template for the AP76 when you're mounting it. That was never used. I mean that would work for a Zero as well, or any other turntable using that shape. It tells you how to do it. It tells you not to moisten the template, and basically that's it, guys. And look at the condition of that. It's in really nice condition. You know, you just basically what you do, you just mark this out. You know, you just mark this out really on your piece of wood. I think you're supposed to cut it, but it'll never get cut, obviously, because you can't get these anymore. Hello, where's me thingy gone? There it is. Right, hello, Lion, is it Leon? Lion McVicky, yeah, Matt Vince, yeah, Matt Vinyl, yeah, good evening, sir. Right, so that's what we've got there. That's, you know, and I've got a couple of these. I've got one for the SP25 as well. Hello, Paul. I hope you and Jan are okay. I got an email this morning about that parcel that's coming. It'll be here tomorrow sometime. Thank you for that. I look forward to see what's in that. We'll do an unboxing and see what's in that when it shows up. Right. Now this is the Garrard Zero. This is the brochure for the Garrard Zero. And it tells us here the Garrard Zero 100, the 100, a major breakthrough in record playing. And it tells us here, guys, the 100 meets the following performance figures: wow and flutter better than 0.1% RMS, and rumble better than minus 60 dB din measurement. Well, the what do you call it? Them figures will have changed now because this is an old unit, so you know they won't be that now. Not without putting a brand new idler and stuff in. And this is it here, guys. It shows you the full layout. I can't get it all on camera, obviously not, and we are fully zoomed out. But this is basically the brochure for let's fold that piece back in, because they did a couple of versions of the Zero. They did the Zero. They did the Zero S, the Zero International, which was a fully automatic version, and they did the make sure you don't show the label, mate. It's got both. No, don't worry, I won't do. I'll take the labels off first. Yeah. Anyway, of course I will. Take the labels off first, mate. Anyway, no worries. Right, 100. 160 times less tracking, 160 times less tracking error. Right, basically, two tangent tracking geometry, the 100 pickup arm. It tells you everything. It explains bearings in the pickup head pivot, which are here. There's bearings, there's precision loaded bearings in the actuating arm front pivot, which is this one here. It tells you how the arm was built. Let's just move that bloody game machine. It tells you how the arm was built. It tells you everything. It shows you, you know, the pivoting head at the start and the end of the playing cycle. So that's at the start and that's at the end. Tracking error up to 160 times as low per inch as a standard pickup arm. Advanced pivotry for minimal friction. But it does tell us somewhere. Hang on. Yeah, it does, and it. The zero arm, the features that add up to perfect tracking. Some of them don't have this little loop on the front here. The S doesn't have that because it's a manual. It's it's fully automatic, but it does not a changer. The International was a changer. This one isn't. What I've got, there they're showing it the cartridge carrier with the cartridge setup gauge. This is the anti-zero bias compensation, maximum bias compensation. You're not what you're doing here. It's actually done with magnets. Sliding weight for setting stylus force along an extended scale, which is here. Cartridge overhang adjustment, which is this gauge here for setting that. And you've got this here, which is your anti-skate adjustment, but there's no physical contact. It's done with magnets. It's done with magnets. Vertical tracking adjustment, auto player, that uses that little knob on the front there to move the cartridge carrier slightly. On the magnetic bias compensator. A pickup arm bias compensator is necessary to offset the normal tendency of the pickup arm to move across the record towards the centre as the disc revolves. With the arm tracking, a small inward force is created, which must be counteracted and neutralised by an equal force in the opposite direction. This prevents wear on the inner side of the groove and damage to the record and distortion. Garrard introduced the first bias compensator on an automatic turntable with its patented sliding weight design, and is still used in most top of the range models. Now a sophisticated and exceptionally precise control has been designed for the 0100 and built into the pickup arm assembly. A precision sliding scale calibrated in fractions of a gram and reading conventionality from the top shows the exact amount of bias force being applied. The scale has two settings, one for elliptical and one for conical styling. The simple but ingenious 0100 bias compensator utilises the magnetic principle that like two poles repel each other. It is frictionless and involves no mechanical connection to the pickup arm. Right, so that's basically what we're there. I'll come to the chat in a minute, but it tells us everything. I mean, they really went into great detail to sell this thing, you know, to tell us how good it was and really shout about it. And, you know, I mean, the mechanism is shared by the AP76 and other such things. Yeah, this is the Zero. This is based on, these are looking at the Zero International here, because the Zero S doesn't have the word international under the stroboscope. But yeah, variable speed, illuminated stroboscope, and the conical, there's your conical pulley there. And there's your viewing window for your, you know, that explains how your stroboscope works. And the Garrard Synchro Lab motor, which was developed for this model. It was used on others, but it was developed specifically. An ingenious concept based upon split motor designs. It combines the powerful instant acceleration of the traditional induction motor with the unwavering perfect speed of a synchronous motor, locked into the accurately controlled electrical supply frequency with the Synchro Lab motor. There are no changes in musical pitch caused by drops in voltage due to appliances or other heavy loads on the line at the same time. Yeah, so it shouldn't change, it should be constant speed. You know, you've got, this is for your automatic one, you know, that's for your constant speed. Sorry, that's for your 2 record support, which doesn't apply here because we don't have the automatic one. Jay's got the automatic one. I serviced his a couple of years ago for him. He's got the auto, and there's the range of bases, as we call them, plinths, and dust covers that they do. They don't show the aluminium one. And what have we got here? There's the International there. That's the one that was known as the International. It doesn't say International, it says it there. Garrard 0100 International, which was the auto version. Now, I know what these are. These are very, very hard to get. I mean, you would have to have gone to contacted Garrard to get these. I'll come to the chat in a minute. We'll just do this. Right, Garrard engineer. Let's put this on here. Look. Proper letters from Garrard. And what this does, what this is actually this is actually a letter to the guy that was interested. The 0 APS, the 0100S and AP76 will shortly be available in modular form. In other words, you can buy it without a plinth. The units being already mounted, the units being already mounted on newly designed and highly attractive bases fitted with translucent covers, having a novel type of hinge at the back edge. The base itself is a construction of moulding, with strong. I'm not going to read all that. Anyway, what's the date on this? Got to be a date on here somewhere. There's a phone number. You won't get through to it now, but there's a date on this somewhere. There's got to be a date on this. Anyway, at the time of this letter being written, it also mentioned the 401. At the time this letter was typed out, your Garrard 0100S with recommended retail prices, complete with base and dust cover. So that's complete with a plinth and a cover. That would have been £49.22 plus £8.20 purchase tax. That was a lot of money back then. The AP76 was £31.88 pence and £5.31 purchase tax. The SP25 Mark III was £20, 13 pence and £3.36 purchase tax. So I think this was I think this was post decimalisation. This was decimalisation had been dealt with. Here's I think it had anyway. Here's the date. That's to it was a Mr. F. Ross Esquire. Mr. F. Ross Esquire. And he was a Geordie. I know that because his address is on it. He was in Whitley Bay. The 7th of November 1972 he wrote this. This was sent out. Dear Sir, thank you for your letter received on the 23rd of October, and please accept our apologies for the delay in replying. We will try and answer your queries in the order given. The brass bush you refer to is a motor pulley for 60 Hz operating and should you be going to Canada or the USA, the plastic bush labelled 005 is an adapter for playing 7-inch for playing 7-inch records with the centre removed. The third packet labelled 094 is a kit for mounting the various types of cartridges. The bias compensator has a tail that is in contact with a pin on the gimbal. This is the MSET. This is the AP76 they're describing. Yeah, it says there, for reasons the motor of your AP76, for safety reasons, the motor of your AP76 should be earthed via the earth lead of your free core cable, either to the earth connection of your on your amplifier, or if the amplifier is, yeah, it gets a bit funny here, either to the on your amplifier if the amplifier is earthed, or to the earth on your 3-pin plug. Should this, yeah, he's just talking about inducing the hum. Trusting the information, yeah. And there we go, guys. That's a little letter from Garrard to some fella, and amazingly that one hasn't gone yellow. So that's, we've got that. Let's just come to the chat. But it's unbelievable, isn't it? You know. Hey, hello Malcolm. Hello Brooksy. Hello Sam. Hope you and the missus is good. Hello Junie Barnett. And hello Brooksy. £55 in 1971. Approximately 950 now. So yeah, it was an expensive product, wasn't it? Really, I mean, you were paying. You know, you were paying for it, weren't you? I mean, they weren't giving them away. I mean, when you say 40 odd quid, it sounds like nothing, doesn't it? But 40 odd quid back then was a lot of money, and we know that. Right, what we've got here, guys, and this is turntables for all types, and this will show us pretty much the full range of the Garrard turntables that were doing the rounds. I mean, of course you've got your 401s here. You've got your 401s, which are broadcast turntables, and it even shows them in a broadcast setting there. They're broadcast turntables. So I don't count them there. I don't count them as, you know, part of the Garrard domestic range, although you could buy them. They were available. For more than 50 years, Garrard has led the world in turntable technology and provided millions of people with countless hours of listening pleasure. And they're still doing it, because a lot of the machines still work perfectly. Listening pleasure. It is no accident that Garrard are so far out in front, as the result of continuous through research and creative product development, plus an insistence upon rigid quality control, something that has assured Garrard turntable owners of long-term satisfaction, and for over 50 years, makers of the world's finest record players, radiograms and hi-fi systems have repeatedly made Garrard turntables the automatic choice for their equipment. This booklet illustrates most. Hang on, I've got to give the donkey his teeth back. This booklet illustrates the most complete, most advanced range of turntables ever offered. Quite a claim, but one well supported by hard facts, and they're all here in these 24 pages. Take a look at the feature comparison chart at the rear of this brochure and see what we mean. And that photograph there shows typical broadcasting studio situation incorporating Garrard 401 turntables. Now there's the 401. We're not going to go too deeply into explaining each one, but yeah, that's the 401, which followed the 301. Yeah, and what's the wow and flutter? Just for performance. Wow and flutter better than 0.08% RMS. Rumble reactive to 1.4 centimetre per second. I mean, rumble, you can't do nothing about rumble. It comes from the main bearing. Everything with a ball race will have rumble. It's a fact. An Asian model AP76. I mean, this uses the same Garrard. This uses the same mechanism, basically the same basic mechanism as the Zero, but it's got plastic switches. It is a transcription turntable, but it's not as nice as the Zero, you know. But this uses the same cartridge carrier as the SP25 Mark III. It's the same carrier, which is nice, because if you get one that's missing, you've got one spare, you've got one. But yeah, we're not going to read all this. Then we've got this is an SP25 Mark III. That's what they look like when they're new, you know. And what's the wow and flutter on this? Wow and flutter better than 1.004, better than wow and flutter better than, pardon me, better than 0.14% RMS. Rumble, yeah. The rumble figures are all going to be about the same, 1.4 centimetre. They're all going to be cm per second. They're all going to be about the fucking same. Right. And that's your free speed SP25 Mark III. And this one is the SL9. This is the SL95B International. They're always the International when they're automatic, I seem to find. Wow and flutter better than 0.1. The rumble's the same on just about all of them, so obviously that couldn't be improved. And it's the same here. The wow and flutter. We've got the SL72B. These are all pretty much a variant on the AP76. They're pretty much the same thing. And yeah, this is for the budget-minded perfectionist who wants his deck to have transcription, turntable engineering, but at the same time the facility for automatic play. Yeah, you know, I mean, I like these because I like the way the weights. So basically the APs, they're basically like an AP76. They're the same thing. Hi Karen, hope you and Jeff are okay, honey. We're just going through some Garrard literature. Now we're at the automatic ones. This is an SP25 really, but a changer version. It's the model SL65B. And the rumble on that's the same, 1.4 centimetre per second. And and the wow and flutter is about the same. It's 0.04, 0.14%. The Zero does it better than that. The Zero can do it better than that, obviously, and it says it does it better than that. But they're all pretty much the same on the rumble. So they must have, you know, this is the Model 60. Ooh, which just looks like an SP25, but the changer. And the Model 40B, they're pretty much all the same, really, same dinner, same thing, really. Then you've got these ones. These were fitted. These were everywhere. These are the same as what. Yeah, these Yeah, these are just like a modified, an updated an updated Auto Slim. They've got the little Magi disc selector on the back here. They're just like an updated Auto Slim. The the Model 2025 TC, and the 25 TCT. Now, what's the difference? Well, the switches are different. I don't think this has a queuing device. Doesn't look it. But it has a smaller turntable as well. Yeah, it's identical to the. Yeah, it has a smaller turntable. Then you've got spindle adapters. You've got cartridges, bases, what we call plinths, dust covers. You know, these are all your extras. You know. And then general information about motors, records, you know, number of records you can play on them, performances, stuff like that. And your features comparison charts. You know, the 0-100 isn't mentioned in this, as far as I can see. But that being said, that had its own brochure. I think this is the end of the brochure. It is. And that's the end of that, guys. That's the end of that brochure. And you know, you can't get this stuff now, so it's nice to actually have. I'm going to have to go to the lavatory in a minute, guys. So I'm going to be putting you on mute for 5 minutes in a minute, because yeah. Right, and this is actually the instruction manual. This is the instruction manual for the 0S, for the 0-100S. And I got this with that as well, that lot as well. So it was nice to get that, because it's the proper instruction manual. And the quality's nice, you know. And then we got this. What the press have to say, what the press say about the 0-100. Will you bear with me a minute, guys? I'm just gonna be back in a minute. Just put you on mute. There we go, guys, we're back. Sorry about that. I should have some lift music playing when I go to the bog, shouldn't I? Put some lift music on. Right. Right. This is all information about the Garrard Zero, which is snippets taken from, none of these magazines exist anymore, apart from maybe Rolling Stone. We've got Gramophone, I remember all these magazines, Records and Recording, Stereo Review, Popular Hi-Fi, Rolling Stone and Audio. I remember all them magazines. Anyway, because at one time Hi-Fi was very big. The Bench Test at Home, reprinted from Popular Hi-Fi, June 1971, the Garrard Zero. Tells you all about it. Don't think there's anything on the other side, no. These are just blank on one side and filled on the other. This one, reprinted from Rolling Stone magazine, September the 6th, 1971. And it tells us all about the Garrard Zero. I mean, I think there's one or two that are negatives. Reprinted from Records and Recording, September 1971. Reprinted from Audio, July 71. Stereo Review, July 71, and the Gramophone magazine, August 1971. Yeah, that was July 1971, that's August. Right, so basically the reviews, I'm not going to read all this, but it's nice to have this information, you know, about what the various magazines of the day were saying about it. The Garrard 0100 manual auto turntable, price it was £58 at this point, £58.33. That was without the plinth. Les plinth, manufactured by Garrard Engineering, Newcastle Street, Swindon, Wiltshire. This brand new turntable from Garrard, who introduced auto changing back in 1930, aroused a great deal of interest at Sonic's 71 on display, on a display shelf occupying a whole wall of the room. The Garrard engineers were demonstrating by means of oscilloscope traces, graphs and a working model carrying a special pointer that the articulated arm of the 0100 virtually eliminates pickup tracking error. I'm not going to read all this. You know, I'll be here all night reading all this. You know, but yeah, that's just one. And they're all pretty similar. Garrard's new top of the line, here we are. This is a little bit of what's from Stereo Review, July 71. Garrard's new top of the line automatic turntable, the 0100, features a novel articulated tone arm designed for zero lateral tracking error. The tone arm's cartridge head is pivoted in the horizontal plane, and a separate linkage parallel to the stainless steel tone arm shaft. I thought it was aluminium. Parallel to the stainless steel tone arm shaft, constantly changes its effect. Constantly changes its offset angle as it moves over the record surface. Garrard claims the arm has a maximum tracking angle error of only 90 seconds, which is 1/40 of a degree. This far lower. This is far lower than can be achieved by any conventional pivoted tone arm, and Garrard's use of precision loaded ball bearings appears to have eliminated problems with pivot play and friction that have troubled similar designs. I'm not going to read all this, guys. We're not going to do that because we'll be here all night if we do that. You know, this is all up on the net for you to read yourself. But yeah, it's nice to have. You know, this is part of my cherished Garrard collection, which I do keep this safe. But come on, get back in there. It came out of there. It came out of there, guys. Now let's get this back on the edge there and just slide that gently down. There you go. That's it. And that's it, guys. That's, you know, Garrard, a quality product. Yeah. And they were, weren't they? You know, they were quality products. Of course they were. And they still are. Because there's a lot of them about today. And, you know, the Zero, you know, the Zero's actually going up in price. I mean, the first one I bought paid 150 quid for it, which is that one over there. But yeah, it tells us somewhere. I want to find that part where it tells us about the bearings that they used, because I was talking about that the other day, wasn't I? I want to find the part where it tells us how the arm is built. The new arm is. It does tell us somewhere about the bearings. Yeah, it does tell us somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, it does tell us somewhere, guys. Yeah, it does tell us somewhere. I won't be able to bloody find it. Yeah, I'm just looking. Yeah. I won't be able to bloody find it now. I'm looking for it. I found it. The extremely low friction, which is essential to this concept, has been achieved with the costly precision loaded ball bearings and a free floating universal pivot. These are among the very few parts of the Zero 100 which Garrard does not build. Instead, they are purchased from an outside manufacturer specialising entirely in the design and constructions of bearings for gyroscopes and other sophisticated equipment. Yes, there you go, you see. I mean, You know, a lot went into it, didn't it, guys? You know, they put a lot into it. I mean, even this plastic shroud, this plexiglass shroud, that was made out of helicopter grade. I believe aeroplane or helicopter grade. You know, materials, I believe it was. But it was only the bearings I was interested in explaining. The Garrard full diameter turntable, 11. Oh, it doesn't say it's 12 inch. It says it's 11.5 inch. Yes, it's 11.5 inch diameter machined aluminium turntable, supports the record over its entire surface and is fitted with a heavily ribbed turntable mat. 2 points of record support, that's for the automatic version. Yeah, so that's it really. I mean, yeah, you know, and that, you know, they actually put a lot into it, didn't they, guys? They obviously did. You know, the engineers at the time, you know, they wanted to make something. You know, they wanted to make something. Well, that booklet fit better the other way around. So it'll all go back and neatly, yeah, it will, so it'll all go neatly back into the envelope. Yeah, but, you know, at the end of the day, guys, I'll come to the chat in a minute because I know someone's just come in. But at the end of the day, it was, you know, it's all born out of the need for somebody to want to play a record perfectly. You know, that's what it all boils down to. I mean, could they build a turntable as good as this or like this today? To be honest with you guys, no, they couldn't. And I'll tell you why. Because the commitment isn't there. No, it's actually made out of plexiglass, not plexiglass plastic. That's what I read in there somewhere. Was made out of plexiglass, which plexiglass is basically fucking plastic. You know, plexiglass is see-through plastic. It's basically perspex. Plexiglass is the posh word for perspex. You know, but that's what it basically is. Hang on a minute, there we go. About the alignment tool, I am correct that someone in the US has printed the tool in grey plastic, but there's a hole rather than the crosshairs. Needless to say, the price is rather steep. Oh no, we want it printing out of transparent fibre. You really need it. You really need it printing out of transparent filament. Any colour transparent will do because you'll still see the stylus through it, but it really needs to be transparent with the crosshairs in it. Because, you know, how do we know he's got the hole for the needle exactly? They look through they look at the point of the stylus through exactly in the right position. You know, we don't know, do we? And, you know, yeah. I mean, and it's not something you can really do by eye either. Let's come back to you lot, because we're finished there now. And it's not really something, I nearly cut you off there. There we go. And it's not something you can really do by eye either, is line up a cartridge into a tone arm. I mean, you could mark the cartridge carrier. Yeah, I suppose you could mark it, where once it's aligned you could mark it, so you know where your cartridge is. But, you know, if you're never going to change the cartridge, which I'm not now, I'm going to leave that cartridge in it. Then once you've lined it, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can buy protractors that you put on your turntable and you can align it that way. But, you know, they're there for audio files. That's a lot of fucking about just to get a cartridge square in the tone arm. You know, that's a lot of that. Using them turntable protractors, that's a lot of messing about to just square up a cartridge. it's not something I would want to do. I'd rather just have the setup gauge that the cartridge carrier slides into. I mean, Garrard thought of everything when they did the Zero. They thought of everything. You know, it was all. You know, it was all. It was all new technology. The arm was new technology. Somebody said that Bang & Olufsen did one with a similar arm, but not before Garrard did it. Garrard did it first, but I've never seen a Bang & Olufsen one. I have seen a Bang & Olufsen which has, like, it looks like it's got two arms. One of them's a sensor and the other one's the actual pickup arm. One of them senses where the record is and the other one is the bit that has the cartridge in it. I've seen them. I've repaired one of them, but I've not seen one by anybody else using that technology. And Garrard, they used it on a few of their models. They used it on, obviously, the Zero and the Zero S got it. The Zero 99, I think it was, or 90, that got it. There was another one that I was looking at on Marketplace the other week, but the guy who had it was being a bit of an arse and he wouldn't send his address so I could go and buy it, and it was only 40 quid, and I would have given him his 40 quid, but he was being an arsehole and wouldn't send his address. How can I buy it if he won't send his address? You know? So I think what he was doing, I think he put it up there just to see how many offers he got and see what was the best offer to try and gauge what it was fucking worth. Well, to me it was worth 40 quid, which is what he was asking for it. But the Zeros, guys, if you look around now, the Zeros are going up in price. Zero 100s are going up in price. And they're going to continue going up. Oh, pardon me for yawning, guys. But they're going to continue. I mean, there's really only one way for them, and that's to ascend. I mean, they were an expensive turntable when they came out. I mean, 40 odd pound and 50 odd pound, as we know, was a lot of bloody money. It's, you know, but you were getting, but that being said, you were getting a lot for that money. You know, you were getting a lot. You were getting a lot of engineering, you know, for that money. So, you know, you were getting a very good product. I mean, like I'm always saying, if you cut me in half, you know, I would have Garrard running through my body, right through the middle of it. I mean, you know, I've been into Garrard stuff since I was a kid. I just love the products. Can you see that black thing sat on the settee over there? Or the couch, as you call it in America. Can you see that black thing? Well, that's a, what do you call it? We're going to look at that probably Saturday. That's a Reader's Digest. That's a Reader's Digest record player. I got that from Jay over at Jay's Vintage Junk. I did him a deal for an iPhone 13 that I had knocking about that I wasn't using. So I did him a deal. A couple of nice record players, and that's one of them. It's a Reader's Digest stereo record player, and the speakers form the lid. And it's very nice. It needs a polish. And it has actually got a Garrard Auto Slim in it, which is nice. And he did say that if the cartridge is dead, then he will give me a brand new cartridge to put in it. So that you can't go any better than that. And the other one I got from him was one of my favourites, a Bush SRP 41. So that'll be coming up at some point. He was telling me that he'd been through the amplifier on that one behind us. A few years ago he'd done the amplifier, but he didn't do the deck because it was obviously working. So he didn't do the deck. He doesn't really do decks, Jay. I normally do. I normally do Jay's decks for him. He can do them. Of course he can. You know, he'd just rather pass them on to me and I'll do them and get something off him for it. You know, we never exchange money. We don't do that. You know, I don't exchange money if I can avoid it. And I'd rather get something. I mean, I could have put that phone on Marketplace. Probably got 50 or 60 quid for it. You know, but I'm not into doing that because when you do that, you get scammers. I mean, I sold an iPhone 5 once, and the amount of scammers that knocked on my door to asking if they could test it outside. Yeah, right. You know, so eventually I just put, you know, we'll deliver. You know, we'll deliver if it's bought locally. I'll walk around to your house and give it to you, and give me my money. Anyway, so I went to this house, and I showed them the phone working. You know, I'd put a new screen and everything in it. It was working. There was nothing wrong with it. I said to them, I said, chuck a SIM card in and make a phone call. They did. It worked. I got back home, I got a fucking message. There's something wrong with this phone. But there was nothing wrong with it. You know, we think you should give us half the money, but I said, fuck off. I just blocked them. You know, luckily they obviously didn't remember my address. Wouldn't have mattered if they had, I would have just told them, fuck off. But, yeah, try to get half the money back. So I just said to them, I said, listen, I said, if you're not happy with the phone, I'm not unreasonable, mate. I said, if you're not happy with the phone, I'll walk back round, put the phone in my hand, I'll put the money back in your hand. But I'm not giving you half the money back and you get to keep the phone. I said, I'm not doing that. I never heard nothing from them after that. So what they were doing, just trying to scam me, really. You know, they got the phone and then they thought they'd say, oh, it's not working properly. You know, there's this wrong with it and that fucking wrong with it. You know, it's a fucking second-hand phone. You know, they tried to say the screen had been fitted incorrectly and all this fucking lot. And I don't know how they got that because I never put in the listing it had a new screen. And because I don't tell people things have had new screens, because people start looking for problems then. So I don't mention things have had new screens, and I just didn't put that it had a new screen. It did have a new screen. I put it in because I did one for a friend, and because I managed to get the screens a bit cheaper, I bought a couple of them in because I had a few of them in the drawer that were broke screens, iPhone 5s. I sold one to a girl in Cheadle. She came up, she put a SIM card in, she tested it in my workshop. She come in the workshop, she tested it. She put her SIM card in it, phoned a friend on it, and she was happy with it. Yeah, she says, I'm happy with that, and she paid me for it, never had a problem. And it was the same screens that went in all them phones. And I never told anybody that they had a new screen. I don't, because people start looking then. Oh, it's had a new screen. Has this been done? Has that been done? I just say it's a good original phone, working perfectly. You know, and you know if somebody asks me if it's had a new screen, has the screen been replaced? Then yes. I don't tell lies, so I would own up and say yes, it's had the screen replaced. But they didn't. They just said the screen had been fitted incorrectly. Now, how did they know the screen had been fitted incorrectly? Unless they took the phone apart. Because the screen hadn't been fitted incorrectly. It had been fitted correctly because I fitted it. And it was working perfect. You know, and, you know, so... You know, you just don't do it because people scam, you know, people scam you. You know, that's why I won't sell phones on Marketplace. I sold about 2 or 3 and then I thought, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not flogging any more phones on Marketplace. I'm not flogging anymore because, well, I'm not flogging any more phones, period, because the amount of hassle or the amount of scammers that try and steal them from you. So every time I upgrade my phone, I just ring Jay up because he's due an upgrade about the same time. So I just ring Jay up and get something nice off him for it. Just swap it for something, something that I want. So I just do that with it because it's a lot of messing about, and I know I won't get scammed. And I know Jay won't ring up and say, listen, this phone, because, fucking, he's not a scammer, is he? So he's not going to do that. Someone rang me this morning about housing problems. I don't know who it was. I just said, I've not phoned you for housing problems, and hung up. It's probably a scammer. I mean, the worst thing that's ever happened, I mean, there were scammers before the internet, but, the internet's amplified them, hasn't it? Anyway, enough about that. Back onto the topic. So, if you're in the market for a turntable, buy a Garrard. Hello, Clarence. I thought you were in prison. Yeah. Hey, your president's getting a bit big for his boots, isn't he? Going around kidnapping other countries' presidents and whatnot. Yeah, he's getting a bit big for his boots. But anyway, never mind politics. Let's carry on. But yeah, good evening, Clarence. It's nice to see you there, my friend. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, did you see the video from yesterday afternoon? The live stream when we did the Garrard Zero and we changed the cartridge. We put the M44 out of the SP25 in it. Sorry, just been very busy. Trump is coming for Kia next. I hope he does. Yeah, he's got a new nickname, him, hasn't he? Never Hear Kia. Yeah. Yeah, Never Hear Kia. Yeah, oh yeah, he can come and fucking take him. I don't give a fuck. I'll fucking help him. I'll fucking help it. I'll help Trump cart him off. Okay, that is a cunt, that Keir Starmer. Pardon the language, but he is. But when all said and done, guys, getting back to it, Garrard were manufacturing stuff, which was far better quality than anybody else's. It really was, even their cheap end stuff was better than the best end. Was better than what the best. Was better than the other company's best stuff. It really was. I mean, Garrard never, ever made anything with a plastic turntable platter. Never. They were always metal. They were either alloy or they were steel. They were never, ever plastic. They weren't. They were really, really good. Really, really good quality things. Good quality products. I mean, and let's face it, guys. Yeah, it could be argued. I know some of you are gonna say, well, there's still a lot of BSRs knocking about. Yeah, of course there is. That's because they've never done enough work to wear out. Like the Garrards, they've never done enough work to wear out. I've heard of people trying to change the bearings in the arm and everything, and there's no need. Just give them a squirt of oil, that's all they need. They're actually a sealed unit anyway, pretty much. So, just give them a squirt of oil, they'll last forever. Them bearings, they don't do enough work. All that's happening is the arm's moving across the record. Them bearings will last they'll outlive me and outlive whoever gets this after me. I have got a hum on my other Zero, and I've worked out that the hum on my other Zero It's probably caused through the same problem that this one had. It's probably a bad signal lead. So what I'm going to do next time I get paid, I'm going to order a new signal lead. I'm going to order the same type of lead for that one as I got for this. And I'm going to ground it exactly the same way, and that should shut it up. Because there is a bit of a hum on that one over there in the front room. Sorry, just being very busy. Oh yeah, I've just read that, Anna. But when all said and done, guys, I mean, you know, I'm just thinking, guys, should we have a record? I mean, we played one the other day by a group called Little Feet, and it got banned in 2 locations, or blocked in 2 locations. Let's have a record, shall we? We won't play the test record, obviously not. Let's play one of my favourites. We'll have a record because we haven't had a record today. Let's see what we've got. Play one of my favourites. These are just really test records. But they are good enough. I'm going to play this one tonight because I think this is a beautiful record. And make sure there's no cracks in it because we want to take our tip off our styler. No, really isn't. Let's put that on disc. This is a good record, this.
Now, our little boy came up to his mama in the kitchen this evening while she was fixing supper. And he handed her a piece of paper he'd been writing on.
It's a bit crackly.
And after wiping her hands on her apron, she read it. And this is what it said. For mowing the lawn, $5. For making my own bed this week, $1. Going to the store, 50 cents. And playing with little brother while you went shopping.
Needs a good clean out record.
Taking out the trash, $1. And getting a good report card, $5. And for raking the yard, $2. Total load, $14.75. Well, as Mum looked at them standing there expectantly, and I could see the memories flashing through her mind. And so she picked up the pen and turning the paper over. This is what she wrote. For the 9 months I carried you, growing inside me, no charge. For the nights I've sat up with you, doctored you, and prayed for you, no charge. For the time and the tears that you caused through the years, there's no charge. And when you add it all up, the full cost of my love is no charge. For the nights filled with dread and all the worries ahead, no charge. For advice and the knowledge and the cost of your college, no charge. For the toys, food and clothes, and even for wiping your nose, there's no charge, son. And when you add it all up, reason, he had great big old tears in his eyes. And he looked up at her standing there and said, "Mama, I sure do love you." And then he took the pen and in great big letters, he wrote, "Paid in full." The Lord knows when you add it all up, the cost of real love is no charge.
Isn't that a lovely record, guys? A nice one, and it'd sound better if I'd have cleaned it first. So never mind. Yeah, we'll give that one a clean. Actually, I think I've got. Well, I know I have. I've got a copy. I think there's a copy of that in my jukebox, but there's certainly a copy of it in my other case. In one of my cases, I know I've definitely got a really nice copy of it. But yeah, that was J.J. Barry with No Charge. Yeah. So that's it, guys. What are we up to? We're going to disappear soon because we're heading on to, what time is it? Yeah, more importantly, how many people have we got in? 9 people in, and it's 7:15. Yeah, I'm not going to overstay my welcome, guys. I'm going to leave it there because there's a couple of things I'd like to do. A tearjerker for sure it is, isn't it, Brooksy? Definitely. Can I ask you something, Brooksy? I've never thought about it till now. Are you male or female? You know, are you a guy or a lady? Hello, Carl. Tears in my eyes after listening to that lovely song, Andy. Yeah, I've not forgot about your amplifiers, by the way. They are on the list. I'll get to them very, very soon. We'll get them back to you. I've not forgot about them, mate. Don't you worry. I've not heard from you for a bit, but I've not forgotten I haven't even took them out of the boxes. They're still in the boxes, Carl. I haven't had the time, you know, but we will get after them for you. Get them back to you. How are you getting on with the AP76? I know it's sustained damage in transit. How are you getting on with the AP76? We know you're a bloke, Clarence. With a name like Bloodnose, you couldn't be anything other. Yeah, we know you're a bloke. Yeah. Yeah, you're a big burly man. Yeah. 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 Oh, you're a guy as well. That being said, though, you know, you know, it just, you know, sometimes you don't know, so you ask. You know, I had the feeling you was, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, you know, there are things that bring tears to my flinty old eyes as well. You know, there really are, guys, you know. It's like that, what do you call it, Louis Armstrong. Whenever I hear Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, that always brings a tear to my old eye, you know, that brings a tear to my eye. That one there didn't, but, you know, yeah. Cheers. Cheers, Clarence. Yeah, I do my best. I mean, I do my best, of course I do. You know, I mean, we can't be miserable, can we? You know, I mean, to be honest with you guys, right, I'll be perfectly honest with you guys and girls, right? I couldn't be miserable. I couldn't, you know. I couldn't be miserable if my life depended on it. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, you're going to be miserable, no, I wouldn't. I'd just say, well, you have to shoot me then, you know, because that ain't going to make a difference. And then once you've once you've shot me, I won't be here to be miserable, you know. So yeah, who cares? Yeah. I'm sure we've all been. I'm sure we've all been guilty of taking parents for granted. Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? That's what that song's about, isn't it? I mean, yes, we've all been there, haven't we? We've all done it. Of course we have, yeah. You know, I mean, yeah, well, I suppose we have really. I mean, whether we've intended on it or not, I suppose we have, haven't we? I mean, and he just highlights it in that song, doesn't he? From the mother's point of view, but he highlights it from the mother's point of view. You know, if I hadn't done this, you wouldn't have been here. If I hadn't done that, if I wanted paying for this or wanted paying for that, I mean, what he's saying really, we can never repay our parents, can we? If we've had good parents. I mean, my parents were good when we was kids. I mean, I will be honest, my mum was never very maternal. You know, if you wanted a cuddle off your mother, you weren't going to get it. Not off our mother. She wasn't maternal, but my dad was very much a father figure. He was very much a proper dad, my dad. He took his role of being a parent very seriously, my dad did. And, I was the same with my daughter. Yeah, it probably happened in transit, Carl, because it was working, as you know. It did work when it was here because I shown it, didn't I? Yeah, that's okay, Andy. No problem, AP76 doing well. Thanks, but can't get the auto function to work. I imagine it was affected in transit. Being busy too, helping mum, who's doing very well. Oh, nice one. Absolutely. Yeah, because the automatic function, it was all working, wasn't it, when it was packed, because I packed it and I checked it, didn't I? I always check them, and I check them on camera to make sure, and as you know, it was working when it left. But that being said, how many people use the auto function anyway? I don't use the auto function on the Zero. Why? Well, I can place the arm in the correct position better by hand. And I don't like the fact that when it drops the arm down, because it's so light, it sort of bounces on the record a little bit. So I don't like that, so I like to put it on manually. But, we've just done a talk on the Garrards, as you've probably been listening. Carl. I'm glad you and your old acne and plum are okay anyway, absolutely, my friend. And speaking of Cockney rhyming slang, I bet the Harvey's knocking about here somewhere. He'll be lurking behind his monitor, like a praying mantis. Won't you, Harvey? If you are lurking, I hope you're there. I hope you're good, my friend. I hope you're okay as well, Julie. And I was hoping you were going to pop in tonight so I could thank you for the coffees. Thank you for the coffees, Julie. And, absolutely. We'll put that to good use at some point. Yeah, he hasn't come in yet, Harvey, has he? I've not seen him anyway. I'm just looking, I've not seen him. But yeah, he's alright, Harvey. He's not bad for a bastard. No, he's alright. I like Harvey. He's alright, Harvey. I speak to Harvey regular on the phone. Yeah, I won't meet up with him because it means I have to buy him a beer. No, I'm only joking. I'd love to go and have a drink with Harvey. I'd love to go and have a pint with Harvey. I'll tell you who else I'd like to have a pint with, and I'm going to do it eventually. Mark and Bernie up in Birmingham. I'd love to meet them too. I really would. I'd love to meet them too. Yeah, I'd love to. I probably will make the pilgrimage at some point. Probably will do it at some point. Arrange to go up there for a couple of days. You know, over a week, of course, of a weekend or something. You know, when they're not working, and yeah, just have a break for me. To have Christine look after Scraps if he's still here. Yeah, he's asleep in his basket. I think he's in the workshop. Yeah, he's asleep in his basket in the workshop. I've seen him before. Yeah, he's getting bad on his legs now, guys. Getting bad on his legs. He still gets about, but he's getting a bit wobbly. You know, and yeah, I mean, he's an old dog though. I mean, you want to see me first thing in the morning. You know, I get out of bed, I scratch my bollocks if I can reach him, and then I go for a piss. You know, he's still about. I mean, he's still about. He's a lovely dog. I mean, and you know something? All the years I've had him, you know, I can't complain. Honestly, guys, I really, really cannot complain. All the years I've had him, he's not been any trouble whatsoever. Even when he was a puppy. You know, when he was a puppy, he chewed one letter. It come through my letterbox, and he got it. You know, and I took it off him, and I showed him it, and I tapped him on the nose, just with a couple of fingers. I went, no, no, and he looked at me with his sorry eyes and his ears down, because his ears hadn't popped up yet, and he's looking at me with his sad face, like you know, and he's never done it since. You know, he's never done it since. I mean, he learned very quickly. You know, he learn very quickly. He's a good dog. Hang on, guys. I'll tell you what, more than 2 sniffs of that and you're greedy. Yeah. You know, but some people criticise me about farting. Everybody farts. You know, not everybody might do it on YouTube, but everybody farts. You know, I'm just human, guys. I've got the human condition. He is, isn't he? I mean, he is. I mean, I think you've only ever heard him bark once. I think he's only ever barked on YouTube once. But he doesn't bark, and he's never been a yapper. You know, never been a yapper. I mean, when I was working, the old lady that used to live upstairs, Frances, she says to me once, she said, "Do you know something?" I says, "What?" She says, as soon as your motorbike zooms off up the road, she says, as soon as the engine noise dies down, she says, he starts crying. She says he starts crying, and he cries for about 30 minutes. Says he cries for about half an hour. She said, and then he obviously realises that you're not going to be home for a bit, and he just probably finds somewhere and curls up. And then when I come home, he must have heard my engine when I come home, and he used to be behind the door with his tail going, waiting for me. So I used to take my helmet off, take my gloves off, and I used to lock my bike up, take my helmet and my gloves off, and then straight away put his lead on, put his harness on and his lead, and take him for his walk. You know, I remember one night, guys, here's one of my funny stories. It's a true story. They all are. Anyway, I was walking round with a 9-iron because Scraps has been attacked by other dogs, and he's a delicate little fella. He's only a small little fella. And anyway, so I used to carry a 9-iron with me, and I used to carry a golf ball in my pocket. You see, the law in England, the rules basically are, if you carry a golf club and you've not got a golf ball on you, then you're carrying an offensive weapon. If you're just carrying a golf club, it's classed as an offensive weapon. But if you've got a golf ball with you, then it's not an offensive weapon because you've got the ball and you could be going to knock the ball about. Well, this was 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m, and I'm there walking scraps. And I was up near what we call Reddish Vale. And this copper pulled up in a police car, which is what coppers normally pull up in. And he wound the window down. He come up behind me, he wound the window down. I was in my pyjamas with my coat on, just with my overcoat on. And he says, can I ask you what you're doing, mate? I said, yeah, I'm walking my dog. He said, okay. He says, can I ask you what you're doing carrying a golf club? So I says, yeah. He says, what is it? I says, it's a 9-iron. He says, a 9-iron? I says, yeah, it's a 9-iron. He said, what are you doing walking your dog carrying a 9-iron club? I said, play golf. He says, you play golf? I said, yeah, I play golf. I says, I come out for a bit of practice. It was a Saturday night and I used to go with my mate Mick on a Sunday. We used to go and play a couple of rounds of golf at the Burnage Football and Rugby Club. They got a little 9-hole course there. We used to do the 9 holes twice. Anyway, we used to go around it twice, just for something to do on a Sunday. Did it regularly. We've not done it for a few years. Anyway, and so I had I had a couple of clubs. I normally kept my clubs at mix, but there was a couple of clubs knocking about here, and one of them was a 9-iron. Anyway, so he says, have you got a golf ball? I said, yeah. And I had one of these like luminous green things. It wasn't really luminous, just very bright green balls. And he said, do you mind if I ask you something? I said, no, ask me anything you want. He said, he says, after you've hit it, he says, how do you find it? I said, well, once I've hit it, it lights up and flashes. I says, and then when it lands on the ground, I can see where it is. He says, really? And his mate in the driver's seat turned round. He says, ignore him. He says, he's taking the bloody piss. He says what? He says golf balls don't light up. He says he's carrying the golf ball because he knows the law. If you're carrying a golf club, you've got to carry a ball, otherwise it's an offensive weapon. He says, is that true? I says, it is, yeah. I says, really, the club? I said, really? I says, I would never hit anybody with it. I said, but, I says, it's just to fend away dogs that might run out and attack him. I said, because he's been attacked a few times. I said, so I carry the club, so I said, I won't hit him with it. I fucking did. I crowned one dog right over the napper with it. It wouldn't let go of me. They've been made illegal now. These fucking XL fucking bullies. One of them fucking got hold of him, and I fucking whacked it with the fucking 9-iron, and it bent. I whacked it that hard, it bent the club, and it still wouldn't get off him. And it had somebody else's dog as well around the corner, next door at the back here, had their dog. And but I says to Copper, I says, I'll just carry it for protection for him. I said to ward off other dogs, really. I only ever had to clout one with it. And I didn't hit it across the head, I actually hit it on the back. I wouldn't hit it on the head, I could have knocked his fucking put a hole in his fucking skull. But yeah, fucking one of them XL bullies he was. Before they were made, they're illegal. You've got to have a special permit for them in this country now. They've got to be registered. You've got to have a permit. I mean, you have to ask yourself, is it worth fucking bothering? Fucking get a golden retriever or a fucking Jack Russell, you know, something like that, or even even a fucking Staffordshire bull. My daughter's got a Staffordshire bull. They're dead gentle, them, you know. They're dead gentle, them staffs. A lot of them Staffordshire bulls are dead gentle. I've never seen an aggressive one yet. But yeah, I said to Copper, the golf balls illuminate when I hit them. And his mate says he's taking the piss. Yeah, fucking. But I know the law. You see, the other one is if you drive around the UK with a baseball bat in the back of your car, in your boot, or in America as they call it, the trunk. If you drive around with a fucking baseball bat in your boot, and you've not got a baseball or a mitt, then you can be fucking done for carrying an offensive weapon. But if you've got a baseball and a mitt, they can't do you, because you've got the rest of the paraphernalia to actually go and play baseball. But you know what baseball is, don't you guys? The Americans actually stole baseball off us. Because you know what baseball is? It's actually rounders. It's actually an old ancient English game called rounders. But the Americans nicked it and called it baseball. It's the same thing. I mean, they might have made a few changes to it. Like they all wear fucking daft helmets and shit, don't they? Or caps or whatever. But we used to just play it in our shorts and fucking t-shirts. Rounders, yeah, it's fucking... Yeah, that's all baseball is. It's rounders. It's like American football. American football, all it is fucking souped up rugby league, innit? It's souped up rugby on steroids. You know, fucking, they wear helmets and all that fucking sort of shit. You know, and I don't know why they call it football, because they only kick the cunt once. Remember, Americans are British, that's gay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and they took rounders with them. But it is though, Clarence, I'm not taking the piss or, you know, being a smart ass or anything. It is. You know, baseball, basically, to all intents and purposes, is fucking rounders. You know, it is. It's the same game, but there could maybe one or two changes. But it's the same game. You know, you trace baseball back, you end up at rounders. You know, and for American football, I don't know why they call it football, because they only kick the ball once, and then the rest of the time they're throwing it at each other. You know, they have to wear a helmet. I wouldn't want to play that. Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. Oh no, I know I'm right. But it is, you know, I mean, every kid of my generation, including me, would have played rounders. We did. You know, but that's what it was really. That's all it is really. It's just, I mean, they call it baseball. You know, but yeah, we called it rounders. It's the same thing. But yeah, you know, American football, that's rugby on steroids, isn't it? I mean, because, you know, we played the same game. They even have the same kind of goalposts that we have, or tri-posts, because they call it a try in rugby, don't they? You know, they call it a try in rugby, they call it a goal in football. Don't know what they call it in... Well, I do actually, let me think. I do know what they call it in American football. I can't remember what they call it. But I did know, I can't remember. It's a fucking home run or something daft, isn't it? The bats are different. Well, of course they are. Well, that's what I've said. I've just said that, Paul. You know, with it's rounders with some modifications. You know, and obviously one of the modifications is the bats. I think the balls are different and all, aren't they? Don't the Americans, don't baseball use a harder ball? I can't remember. Because it's, you know, it's been years since I think a baseball bat, I think a baseball bat, I think it's longer than a rounder's bat, innit? You know, a baseball bat is longer than a rounder's bat. But I don't know about the thickness. But yeah. I don't like watching sports, I prefer to play. I never used to like soccer, or as most people over here call it, football. I never used to like football. As far as I was concerned, it was 22 queers running down the field chasing a bag of wind. You know, and I didn't like playing football, I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't into football. I couldn't do it, guys. Couldn't do football. Rugby, yes. Yes, I could play rugby. I used to enjoy rugby. I remember once, you know, we was all in the scrum, and I don't know who it was, but somebody put his hand in between my legs and twisted me testicles. The twat. Grabbed me bollocks and squeezed them and twisted them. Cunt. I never found out who that was. All I saw was this fucking hand go up the leg of me shorts. Grab me fucking nuts. And twist me fucking nuts. I says, whoever that is, you can let go of me bollocks. Yeah. I never found out who it was. Because there were fucking hands everywhere and fucking feet everywhere. You don't know who belongs to who. I just seen this fucking hand go up me fucking leg of me shorts and grab me nuts and twist them. Dirty bastard. Anyway. But yeah, I used to love playing rugby. Yeah, I used to love playing rugby. Yeah. Girls play rounders, boys play baseball. Yeah, not over here we didn't. When I was at school, we all mixed in, and there was like half girls, half boys. You know, because I played rounders. But we never called it baseball. It's the Americans who call it baseball. You know, we never called it baseball. I don't think they play rounders in schools now. I think all them games have gone. Traditional games like that. But I used to like cricket as well. I used to enjoy cricket. Hello, Rob. Good evening, my friend. I used to like cricket as well. I like cricket because I was bloody good at it. I'll tell you what, the opposing team used to shit themselves when I came into bat. And my team used to save me for a critical moment. For the critical moment, you know, because I was very, very good. I had a keen eye and I knew the sweet spot. Well, I knew the sweet spot of the bat. I knew where the meat of the bat was. I understood where the sweet spot was. It was right in the middle of the bat. And I actually used to carry a felt tip pen and I used to find the sweet spot on the bat. And when I found the sweet spot on the bat, I used to put a little mark on the bat that I could see. And when the ball came, I used to fucking wang it straight off the fucking bat. It used to clang and disappeared out fucking field. And hello Andy, how are you keeping? Yeah, I'm keeping fine, thanks Rob. Hope you are as well, my friend. I hope my other Irish viewer is not coming tonight. My other favourite Irishman. Pat, Pat's okay as well. You know, Byron, Pat, I hope Pat's okay. Yeah, so we had, you know, I used to play rounders. I mean, because it was called rounders over here in the UK. It's the Americans who called it baseball. But yeah, you know, the girls used to play netball and softball and badminton. I never liked badminton or tennis either. You know, I used to leave that for the girls, badminton and tennis. You know, I used to leave that for the girls. I didn't like football. I refused to play football because out of the principle, the fact I didn't like playing it. I wasn't interested in it. Rugby, yes. Rounders, yes. Cricket, yes. Swimming, yes. You know, anything. You know, I was interested in quite a few sports, and running. Oh, yes. Yes, I used to love me running. That used to keep me in physical peak condition. So that if I got a chase off the police, they weren't catching me. I could run, guys, honestly. I'm keeping great. No worries there, Rob. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year, my friend. I can't remember what the last time was I spoke to you. But yeah. It used to keep me in fine. I used to keep myself in fine physical condition. And when I ran, guys, I'm not bragging, but when I got on the move, no fucker was catching me. I was like a fucking gazelle. I could fucking go. I could fucking shift. I bet I could run about 20 mile an hour. You know, 15 at least. I bet I could, you know, because no fucker was catching me. I mean, I'm not just bragging. I mean, it's a fact. You know. I remember once I got chased by about fucking 15 or 20 guys. And I don't know what the fuck they wanted. I mean, I don't know what they wanted. I never fucking hung around to find out. But they fucking chased me. They chased me for about 3 or 4 bastard miles. And they never caught me. What I did, there was a block of flats, and I ran into this block of flats. And what I did, I ran up the stairs, and I hid at the top of the stairs of this block of flats. And one of them came into the fucking building. I thought, fuck me. You know, I ain't getting out of here if he comes in here. Anyway, I stood out of view, and he looked right up the stairwell, and he couldn't see anything, so luckily he fucked off. So I'll give it 10 minutes. I had a fag and give it 10 minutes. I used to smoke as well. I had a fag and give it 10 minutes, and when I was sure the coast was clear, I was back out. I ran once out of beer. I've done that a few times. Yeah. I know your idea of exercise, Paul. It's a fucking pint in either hand. A balanced diet, pint in either hand. Yeah, but there we go, you see. Yeah, I could fucking run, guys. Honestly, I could fucking... You wouldn't believe it looking at me now. You know, you wouldn't believe it looking at me, and I wouldn't get 20 feet now. I'd be fucked. If I had to run now, I wouldn't be able to do it. I know that. But back then, when I was like in my fucking teens, fuck me, man, I could fucking move. And not only could I move, I could sustain it. I could control my breathing. I learned how to control my breathing while I was fucking on the hoof. I learned how to control my breathing, and I could control myself, you know, pretty much perfectly. And you know, fucking the only way the police knew if I'd been running, he used to put his fucking hand on my chest. And my fucking heart would be going like a fucking hammer. You know. My fucking heart would be beating like fuck, because you can no way you can slow that down. Not as soon as you see a copy you can, if it goes faster. But yeah, I could move me, guys. But I used to keep myself in good physical condition. I can't now, obviously. I might try and get back into some sort of condition in the summer. Might start going for long walks and stuff, or short walks and build them up as, you know, as it goes on, and try and get back into, lose a bit of weight. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Guys. Thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure to have your company. I'll let you know when that box turns up tomorrow, Paul. We'll do an unboxing and see what's in there. And I might even show you my Reader's Digest record player tomorrow. You all take it easy, guys. Thank you very much, and like, share, subscribe. Buy me a coffee if you want to. You all take care, stay safe, stay warm, and all that lot. I shall catch you later. Bye for now, guys and ladies.